Do you know the story of the man who was first labeled a vampire? Now, maybe he wasn't exactly the first vampire. We have a lot of different words in many different cultures for things that match his folklore, but he was definitely something monstrous that terrorized a town for 16 years. So, back in 1656, this dude named Ure Grando died, and he didn't stay dead. He came back and terrorized that town for a long time as a vampire. But now, I'm not talking about Hollywood good-looking, sparkly vampires. I'm talking about something that looks a little bit more like the Hollywood zombie. See, the vampires in European folklore are disgusting. They are bloated, they stink, they're rotting, and they are in no way looking like the human they once were. So Ure Grando, for 16 years, would start knocking on people's doors in the middle of the night, and if they opened it, they were in for an attack. He would try to kill people, and he especially would go back to the wife that he left behind and torment her. Despite his rotting face, people said it looked like he was still giving them a very creepy smile, and they knew he was coming by the wheezing sounds his body would make as he walked. Now, after 16 years, finally a group of people tried to kill him. They got together, they threw spears at him, but they just bounced off. Finally, the village got up enough courage to try again, but this time they snuck into the graveyard where he was still sleeping one night, and before he rose back from his coffin, they dug him up himself. Now, when they dug him up, they described it like he was perfectly asleep, but still had that terrifying smile. They kept trying to stab him. They even tried to stab him in the heart, but every time they did, their weapons would break or it would just bounce off. Until finally, somebody got tired enough to go grab a saw and start cutting off his head. That's when Ure woke up and started screaming before just blood flowed everywhere, and he was finally put to rest. Now, maybe his story isn't the first like it. There are tons of other monster stories very close to this, but he is one of the earliest to be called a vampire. But what is your take on this? Do you think he's a vampire, or maybe he's something else?